welcome back to Mindful May. My name is May, and today's project is this black slip dress. I'm really excited about this project because this piece is incredibly versatile and it's pretty easy to make. A while back, I thrifted a couple yards of some black polyester, I think it is, fabric, and I really wasn't sure what to make with it. And then this dress idea came into my mind and I thought it'd be perfect. This dress can be made with pretty much any fabric. You just need about 2 yards to make it, depending on how long you want it to be. I went for more of a midi look because that's what I like, but you can feel free to make it above the knee or all the way down to your ankles, up to you. I will leave all the measurements in the video following, so you can watch to see how it turns out or sew it alongside with me. And once you've got what you need, we can start this project. To start this project, you're going to fold your fabric over until it measures 1/4 of your hip measurement, and mine is 10.5. The first cuts we're going to make is our neckline. I'm going in 4.5 inches on the fold. My bust is measuring at 9.5 inches. I'm then creating the neckline. From the top of the fabric, I want the depth of my neckline to be 3 inches. So I pop a mark there, and then connecting that 4.5 inch mark all the way down to the 3 inch mark to create our neckline. Then creating the armhole. From the top, I'm measuring down 7 inches. Then I will create a curved line for the armhole from that 7 inch mark all the way up to the top of our neckline. Moving down to a little bit below the chest, I want it to taper to that 10.5 inches. So taking it from the 9.5 for our bust, it tapers down to 10.5 inches. And now we go about cutting it out. For the length of my dress, I went with 46 inches. Which will end up being about 45 inches as we create the hem at the bottom. So I'm measuring the length, making sure it's still 10.5 all the way down. Cut the bottom of the dress and all the way up. So it's a very simple panel, very simple top, and pretty straight all the way down. Next, I'm going to fold that piece back in half to use as a template for our back piece. So I laid that again on the fold, and I'm just cutting out the identical piece on another folded piece of fabric. The only difference here is I measured 9 inches from the top of the strap, and I'm going to cut the back piece a little bit lower. I wanted a dip that goes down my back. So starting at the top of the strap, just creating a curve all the way down to that 9 inch mark. Continuing to cut the length all the way down. I've got my front and my back piece. Next step is to create a lining for both the front and the back. I am working with just scraps here, so I'm looking for a big enough piece that will cover my whole top bodice. I'm laying this down on my fabric. You just want to make sure that you have 4 inches from the bottom of the armpit down to where the lining will end. And then you cut all the way around the top. This is the front panel. I cut on the fold just to make it a little simpler. Here are my 2 lining pieces. Next step is to create the straps. I measured these out to be 18 inches. I wasn't sure how long I wanted them to be, so I'm starting with 18 and we will adjust them later. We're going to be folding right sides together if you have a right side of your fabric. And then we're going to sew down and create a little tube. I am starting with a zigzag stitch and stitching all the way down the casing Then I am switching back to a straight stitch just to stabilize this strap and going all the way down. Next, I'm using my looper threader, which is not a necessary tool, it's just really helpful. You could also use any kind of bobby pin or paper clip just to get that fabric folded inside out. But today I'm using my looper threader. It's a pretty awesome little tool. You thread it through, hook it to one side of your fabric, and then pull it through to the other side. And then you have a strap. Now it's time to assemble the front piece. We have our front panel facing up and the right side of our interfacing facing down. We have the strap pinned or sandwiched in between the lining and the front piece. So your good sides are facing, strap is sandwiched in between. We will pin at the top to keep the strap in place. And then go about pinning together the neckline and down the armhole. And then we're going to sew it all together, starting from one armpit to the next. Next up, after that is sewn, we are going to take the right side of the back piece and face it up, and take the right side of the front piece and face it down. So right sides are facing each other. And we're going to pin the strap to the top of the back piece, as I'm doing here. Then I'm going to go try this on. This is about an 11-inch strap, and it fits me pretty well. So I am going to sew this and just cut off that excess strap later. And now I'm going to pin the facing all together, again sandwiching the strap in between the back panel and the interfacing. And again, from one armpit all the way through the neckline into the other armpit, we will be sewing. Here's how everything looks together. I'm going to turn it inside out, cut off that excess strap, cut off any excess bulk, and then I am creating little snips in the fabric as well, just on any curves to help it lay a little flatter. And here's the dress so far inside out. Next, we will be creating the side slit. First, we are attaching right sides together, starting from the armpit and making our way down to the side slit. You can decide your own length of slit here. I decided on 14 inches. So I popped a pin 14 inches from the bottom of my dress. And we are going to be creating a double rolled hem. Just a tiny little roll here, starting at one side of the slit and going all the way down. We will then turn the fabric, continue to double roll. After we have all of our hems rolled, we are going to sew everything together. We will be starting at one corner above the bottom of the slit, sewing up. We will pivot our machine, holding these two fabrics together, sewing back and forth, pivot the machine, sew down the other side of the slit, all the way around. So here I am at my machine, starting at that bottom corner. I'm sewing all the way up the side slit. Once I get to the top, I'm going to lift my presser foot, pivot my machine, hold those two rolled pieces of fabric together, set my presser foot down to hold it in place, and then sew forward and back to stabilize this stitch. I'm setting my needle down and continuing down the other side of our slit. As I get to the bottom, I am just free rolling here. I haven't pinned anything. I feel pretty comfortable that I can just roll it by hand. So I sew all the way down and leave the needle in, turn the presser foot, and keep rolling.
And you'll finish up the other side slit, and we're nearly done. Our last step is to sew down the side seam of the dress. So I have pinned starting from the armpit all the way down to our side slit, and we'll just sew one straight line. Starting at the very top, we will stitch forward and back to stabilize our stitch. And then head on down. Once you hit the slit, we will stop there. And this baby's all done.
Thanks for watching with me today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and then subscribe to my channel for some more content. I'll see you next time. Cheers!